Hi, welcome. My name is Cynthia. I wasn't planning to do a reading today, and it's not ideal to do a reading today in my home because it's really cold here, and so the heater is, I just have a very loud heater. It's one of the reasons I need to move. But I wasn't planning to do it because there's just to do a reading without the constant noise of the heater being so loud in the background just didn't really feel feasible. But my conscience or whatever guidance I'm following around this is not leaving me alone to do the reading. And I'm also feeling worse and worse as the day goes on. And I think it's actually going to help me to do the reading. And I think part of the reason is because whoever's catching this doesn't feel good. And maybe this reading is going to help them. You might be getting discouraged. You might be feeling like the changes that you're seeking are never going to come. The people that you have wanted in your life, but that are not in your life, are never going to be in your life. There's just a bleak outlook right now. This could be coming from spell work. You might suspect that people are doing spell work on you to confuse your thoughts and discourage you even when you have no reason to be discouraged. I'm in that energy. I have absolutely no reason to be discouraged right now, other than I'm ready to be moved out of here and it's happening slower than I want. But otherwise, my life is going in a trajectory I feel really positive about. So when I start feeling like that, my question is always, whose feelings am I feeling here? Because I don't feel this way right now. I just felt amazing last night before I went to bed. I felt a little bit invaded in my dream space, but that's between me and my personal guides or whatever to work out. I wasn't going to even really share about it, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to share the dreams, but the thing that kind of came through, I went for my morning walk and I just thought, okay, I woke up, I feel like shit, I'm discouraged, I feel like these feelings are not mine and I don't know where they're coming from. Some of them are mine. I'm tired. I'm tired of getting through all of this shit by myself. If I'm just being real, I'm sick of it. So rather than feel sorry for myself, I thought, go do the things that make you feel better. Go for a walk, breathe fresh air, get out in nature. So that's what I did, but I just keep feeling worse. And so I don't know what that is, but often when I feel like this, doing a reading makes me feel better. And I'm hoping it's because this is also how you're feeling, and this reading will help you feel seen and less alone. I just tipped one of my favorite readers because her reading made me feel less alone. And so then I thought, just go ahead and do the reading. You can just do a recording. You don't always have to be on film. You don't always have to have a picture of the layout. You don't always have to have it be perfectly the way you want it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm on edge. I'm sure it's coming through. I feel annoyed. I feel tired of being messed with. I feel tired of having people underestimate me. It's a lot of stuff like that. Like, these are real parts of me. They're not just, feelings that feel imposed on me for whatever reason or that I'm channeling, but I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I've been working hard for my life and I don't understand, it's not that I'm not trusting my higher power. I'm just tired. I'm angry at the influences that are in my way and that feel like they're deliberately working against me. And whether that sounds paranoid or not, it's just the feeling I have. So part of the reason I'm feeling it, I think, is because you also are feeling it. When I was on the walk, it was nice. It was a nice cold morning. There was hardly anyone out there. It's along the water. Saw a lot of beautiful birds, and that's always helpful. But it's like, God, no matter what I'm doing, I can't seem to keep my mood lifted at a certain point, which is why it starts feeling like interference. But I kept having this intuitive nudge to talk about a separate piece, which is a book. I can't even think of the author's name. I don't have my copy anymore. But it's a book I've read like 3 times. It's more like a novella. I read it once in my mid-20s and I was drawn to the title and bought it unseen. I didn't know anything about it. I think I had heard of the title, but beyond that, I didn't know anything about the book. But when I saw the book title, A Separate Piece, I just had this strong, like, oh my God, I want to read that. So I bought it. I didn't know anything about it, like I said. Then fast forward about 10 or 12 years, it's like I had some amnesia for the fact that I read that book. And I was again in a bookstore and saw it and thought, oh my God, I want to read that. A separate piece. That sounds, I mean, I'm drawn to that. So I bought it and got it home. And then as I started reading, I realized you read this before. You went through this exact same experience like 12 years ago or something. It was kind of weird. I don't really know what that was about, other than now it feels like maybe it was partly to do with this reading. Because this is a spoiler alert if you haven't read it. It's an award-winning novel. It's a really beautiful novel. It's very sad, though, in many regards. But this is going to be a spoiler for the book because there's something about the story that's important. So it's about these two best friends, two really close friends. I think it takes place during World War II. And these two best friends are in prep school, and they're like these two young guys, right? And one of the guys is popular and loved and gregarious and charming and, you know, just has a lot of social graces and people that admire him and look to him with admiration. And then his best friend is more reclusive, like a little bit more in the shadows, not quite as out there and visible and regarded in the same way. And the interesting dynamic is that the sort of popular or gregarious lit up friend is truly devoted to his best friend. They go back way many years. They've been best friends, and I think, if I remember right, and they're in this prep school together. And something happens during a summer vacation, or they're somehow doing something on a break. I can't remember exactly how they end up here, but they go out to this beautiful place for the day. They ride their bikes out there. It's this known gathering place out in nature that people like going to. And they end up climbing a tree, and they're in the tree, and the friend who is the kind of more like gregarious, seen, noticed, popular friend, who's also kind of considered gifted. Like he's one of those people that everybody sees and thinks there's going to be big things going in this young man's life in the future. So at the scene where they've ridden their bikes to for the day, they climb up this tree, climb in the tree, and the close friend is way out at the edge of a limb on the tree. And he's doing some just kind of goofing off. Like he might have even stood up. Like there was something he was doing that was a little bit risky on this tree limb. And the other friend, who had always kind of harbored some envy and jealousy because he kind of felt like he was in this guy's shadow a lot and he wasn't noticed a lot and he might not have had kind of the same advantages in life. But it was almost like that jealousy and envy had been kind of eating at him internally, and his friend wasn't aware of it. His friend was not aware that his best friend was harboring this anger towards him, right? Or this envy that was just kind of growing within him, more and more toxic. And so what happens is this, as the popular friend is out on this branch, kind of balancing and precariously on this outer limb, when he wasn't looking, the envious friend bounced the limb and shook it so he would fall off the limb and crash to the ground. And it was like he did it in a moment of impulse, but it was from that toxic, envious place, right? From a, I'll show him, or, you know, he thinks he's so great at everything. He's so gifted. It was just out of a dark place in his friend. And when he shook the limb and the friend fell out, it had devastating consequences. It destroyed his friend's future, basically, because he became paralyzed. And so then the novel goes on to explore the depth of the relationship, because for a long time, he has no clue that the reason that he fell out of the tree is actually because his friend pushed him, basically. He thinks it was just a sad accident. But what also comes out is that there was something deeper in him that did know, but he didn't want to face it. He didn't want to think that his friend could have done that to him, because the love on his end was very genuine and very real and very devotional to this best friend. But the best friend harbored this envy and jealousy and acted on it in a moment of impulse, and it destroyed his friend's life. And then he had to go on and live with the guilt of what he had done, because he didn't admit it for years, but he stayed friends with his friend. You know, he even after a lot of the people kind of faded out of his life because his life changed so drastically once he became paralyzed. A lot of people don't know how to handle something like that. And so he went through kind of a social death. But the guilty friend maintained the friendship, even though he was harboring this secret that the accident was his fault. So I'm supposed to bring that story up. And for whatever reason, it's a book that had that weird history with me. Like I read it, loved it, then weirdly forgot about it. And then again, went through a second cycle of like, oh my God, I want to read that. That sounds interesting to me. And then getting it home and realizing you did this exact same thing several years ago. So, a separate piece, if you haven't read that book, it's not a long read. It's, again, like I said, it's like a novella, and you might find something meaningful in there or healing in there for you. I just remember being really impacted by it because it goes deeply into the psyche and the shadow aspect of ourselves, denial, envy, jealousy, devotion, loyalty, all of those things, right? Class comes into play as well. And so with that, I'll just go ahead and do a quick layout. If you're feeling or suspecting a close friend, if you're feeling betrayed, if you're feeling alone in the world right now, or you're like you don't understand why you're having to continue to run this gauntlet or go through this trial by fire that you're in, I'm feeling like that today. And even though, like I said, yeah, I don't have much reason to feel like that because the stresses that I've been up against lately, I've come through the worst of them. So I don't know why. I think I'm channeling some of the collective feeling. There's a feeling maybe that you're experiencing of betrayal. You might have just found out that someone that you trusted really betrayed you and you are devastated, right? I don't know. Let's just see what the layout says. I'm going to do a relationship spread for someone who's struggling with a relationship because that book is very specifically about a best friendship. This might have something to do with a best friend or a sibling, someone that operates in your life like a very close relationship. What's important for you to know? On the bottom of the deck is the Magician. So I mentioned earlier that someone might be feeling like there's a practitioner working against them in some way. It's not in the reverse, and I love Frank Duffy's image of the Magician here. I really love it. So that's not necessarily a negative card yet. We're not going to assume the worst, but let's go ahead with the layout. Oh my gosh, yeah. The Tower in your mind space, and then in your heart space is the Eight of Swords. You feel shocked by some type of entrapment that you've been experiencing. Yeah, the person on the other side of the equation is thinking about the betrayal. It's the Ten of Swords. They're thinking about the fact that they've betrayed you. They're walking away. They might be trying to get away. They may be hoping that you're not going to find out, but you have found out. They may be walking away from the accountability because in the heart space is the Eight of Cups. It may be that they're realizing that there's no way to save the friendship after this level of betrayal, because the Ten of Swords is a severe betrayal. And normally this reading necessarily, I wouldn't be reading it like this, except that it came through channeled about a separate piece as well. So that's why these cards are being read like that, because when the devoted friend realized and allowed his denial to be swept away and realized his best friend was the cause of his devastating accident, it was like a tower moment for him to finally face that truth. It was very devastating to him. Let me finish the central column here. So the energy running between the two of you is the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. So some kind of an illusion has brought everything to a halt here. A seed of betrayal maybe that was planted a long time ago has brought everything to a grinding halt as this illusion has been exposed and you feel the entrapped energy and the reality of what's hitting you. There's a very distinct before and after here. The major arcana card is the Tower. So this is not a small realization for you. It's painful. I can feel that it's painful. In your heart, the swords are very much in play. That feeling of entrapment is in your heart center. You may be feeling really sorrowful and angry and upset, and that's the energy I'm picking up on. This is making sense. It's making sense why I feel so awful today, is that I think I'm picking up on this collective energy for people who are struggling with this betrayal experience. And it's got you at a stopping point where you're just like, holy fuck, you know. So the energy is headed, where the energy is headed is the Seven of Cups. And Frank's image is the eye, the all-knowing eye, or the eye of Horus in the center of the Seven of Cups. So you're going to have a lot of options here. And not all of them are going to be ideal. So let's get some clarifiers on that Seven of Cups. What is the Seven of Cups? Justice, which is a major arcana. The Wheel of Fortune, which is another major arcana, and the Hanged One. So that's interesting. I wasn't really expecting those to come out as clarifiers, but what it's telling me is that there's something much bigger. It's beyond you at this point. This could be something that even involves the law, or that broke the law, and it could have something to do with your fate and your fortune and your destiny, and this person or people really betrayed you. And they walked away from you in their heart, and they made an intellectual choice in their mind to betray you. It's just coming out here. The cards are not mincing words. It's very kind of a brutal layout here. But the energy of the Seven of Cups, where things are headed, is towards justice, fortune, and the Hanged One. So it's a spiritual lesson for you, and it could also be that they are about to go into an incredibly spiritual process of having to face what they've done, even though they're trying to walk away. I didn't bring any other cards with me because I tried to get away from the heater noise, but I only grabbed this one deck. So is there any specifics about the Wheel of, I know what I'll do. I'm actually going to do in a whole nother layout now. That's an advice layout for you. What should you do now that you've received the confirmation of this reading? This is a confirmation for you, or for people in the collective that are feeling this level of shock and betrayal in their lives. I'm very sorry for whatever it is. It's very much hit you hard in the heart. You feel entrapped, like somebody might have trapped you in something that could have gotten you into a legal trouble, or stolen your fortune. What's some advice for you? So I just put all the cards back, and now I'm reshuffling. So we'll get you some advice. I'm so sorry. I feel for you in my heart. This is your energy that I've been feeling today. I've had some of my own suspicions that I've been betrayed, but none of that has borne out yet. I'm in a wait and watch kind of mode. So we'll see if I've just been picking up on other people's energy or what, because I don't really have anything to, I don't have a ton of evidence. I have some evidence, but I don't know. I'm very in the dark still. So that's why I'm thinking this wasn't just for me, these feelings I was feeling today. It's for us as a group, or you all, and I'm picking up on a lot of it. But I will say that, like, I've had my suspicions about some betrayals, but I don't know. There was a reading I just did actually about wondering if someone was trying to steal my identity, because I do have some information that could indicate that. I'm not going to assume the worst. I'm not going to be so paranoid that I start accusing anyone. I'm just going to wait and watch and let things play out. But what's some advice for you? What's some advice for you? Now that this shocking revelation has come, you already are aware of it because the Tower was in your mindset. So you may have just learned about it today. I don't know. And it might be somebody really close to you, like a brother or a sister or your best friend, like in a separate piece, right? Yeah, the Five of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So that's a lot of conflict being sent your way. And in Frank's deck, it's the lion that's the figure in the Five of Swords. He's swallowing the sword. So it's really cutting deep. This attack or this betrayal or entrapment is really hitting you deeply physically too. So it's important to take care of yourself right now. That's just that, right? That's always important. But yeah, the situation is that it's going to require a lot of strength from you. And you probably already know that. Going through a tower, especially if you're someone on a spiritual path, you have to try to rise above it as much as you can and maintain your integrity and your strength. You're succeeding in doing that, though. That's what's important to know. The challenge is that someone tried to block you. It's the Two of Swords. Somebody, again, that came out, someone's tried to block you. The Two of Swords was in the heart of that last layout. It was the central card. It's like a stopping point. In the Crowley deck, although that's not the deck I'm using, but in the Crowley deck, the Two of Swords is called Peace. And so it strikes me that, again, the book's title is coming through, A Separate Peace. So if you've not read that book, I recommend it. There might be consolation in it for you. You might learn something about the dynamics of what has played out between you by reading that book, right? Because it's a very wise, deep dive into the psyche of jealousy and devotion. The lesson is the Chariot. So you're heading towards a success regardless of this betrayal. A Chariot is a far stronger energy than the Two of Swords. The Strength card is a far stronger energy than the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords represents the betrayal here. So it's important for that you can find your peace there. You can find a separate peace outside of the fact that you've been betrayed like this. You can go on to find peace in spite of the betrayal. What's your advice? King of Cups, it's to be, don't lose track of your own heart. So you may be in masculine energy, and this is saying don't let this make you cruel. Don't let this kind of betrayal take you out of your heart space. A King of Cups is a very, very deeply feeling, ethical king of the heart center and of the water element. He's not really out there emoting and demonstrating everywhere. He's got a very, very dignified affect of the heart. And, he's very grounded and very comfortable with his emotions. So go ahead and feel what you're feeling too. You don't want to turn your heart off. You need to feel the pain in your heart in order to heal it, right? And you're very aware the pain is deep in your heart right now with that Eight of Swords that came out in the heart center. You feel the wounds of the swords. Oh, nice. And where things are headed for you, King of Cups, is towards a High Priestess. So you are either going to achieve some mastery of your inner feminine wisdom through this. You're already kind of there, though, with the King of Cups. What's the High Priestess here? Because as a King of Cups, you're already kind of well on your way to being integrated with your heart center. But what's the High Priestess here? That's a nice card to see. So we have the Chariot, the Strength card, and the High Priestess. So this betrayal is not bigger than you and your fate and your destiny and the path that you're walking. What's the High Priestess? What's the High Priestess in the near future? You may be drawn to a High Priestess, right? For healing, that could be. That can help you heal some of this. The Moon, yeah. The Wheel of Fortune again. And a new beginning. This High Priestess is somebody that's in your life in a feminine way. You're in masculine energy. This High Priestess is coming in. We're on the full moon right now, the Cancer full moon, which is again water. King of Cups is water. The lunar landscape is feminine. So your fortune relative to this feminine energy that's coming into your life, this High Priestess, is going to bring you a new beginning. So focus on that. And I have a feeling that that's really welcome news for you. This might be a love. It's not coming out that way, but regardless, this High Priestess has healing for you. Is it healing in what way and in what new beginning? Can I ask that before we go? Healing how? I might be being a little too pushy here because that's 4 major arcanas that came out. The High Priestess, the Moon, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Fool. Or no, sorry, the World card. So you know, I don't need to push tarot. That's beautiful, and that's far bigger and more bountiful and beautiful and healed than the betrayal that you've been subjected to. Okay, just hang on. Let this reading comfort you. I hope it helps you feel seen. I'm glad I'm doing it. I already feel better. The pain in my heart is already lifting, so I can tell that this is what I was supposed to do, was do the reading, even though I didn't really. I was like, nothing's right about doing a reading in here. Like, it's going to be too loud. I don't have the energy to set up, you know, and some of that was probably just channeled energy I was picking up on too. What's important to know? Anything else about this? Temperance. Yeah, it's just going to be healing. This connection with this high priestess is going to be very healing for you. It's not going to reveal anything more other than it's fated, it's destined, it's all major arcana here. In fact, the only minor arcanas are the King of Cups and the Two of Swords. So you are already in king status. This betrayal is already in your shadow. You're already moving past it simultaneously, even though you've just found it out. Just know that you're already transcending it. Maybe like something from your fate. Your fate is given, it's guaranteed. Your fate for this healing on this full moon in Cancer, for your fortune and this new world and this temperance, it's already happening. It's already in play. And the betrayal is already a thing of the past. Those people are going to have to face their justice. It's not for you to worry about. It's for a higher law or a higher justice that's coming for the person or people that betrayed you. Okay? So I hope this is comforting. I'm glad I did it. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.